I had to fly out one time. And I come from a very rural part of the country, which we'll get to here in a second, and the closest airport's about 3 hours away. So I didn't want to leave my truck at the airport for like 4 weeks when I was going to be gone. So what I did, I went to a local Army base, and they flew me out to the larger airport. It was one of those really small Cessnas, like those 8-seat planes. And I'd never flown on one of those before. And I'm looking out the window with this plane, and we're in a line. I hear the woman in front of me say 140. I don't know what that means. But now it's my turn. I walk up there, and she said, "Are you flying to St. Louis?" "Yes, I am." She said, "Well, how much do you weigh?" "Why do you need to know how much I weigh?" She said, "Because we base boarding the plane according to the passenger's weight, so that way the wings stay balanced." She said, "But the first thing I need to do is to get your bags." "No, the first thing you need to do is to get her back over here, because there's no way she weighs 140. I'm not trying to embarrass anybody here, but I'm not going to wind up a story on the news because this woman doesn't want to admit she slides through Burger King every once in a while. That's not my problem. So now I have to stand over to the side and like calculate all the lies that everybody else is telling. 140, no, you're not 140. The guy walked up there, he's like, "Oh, I probably weigh 175. Yeah, in high school you weighed 175. So finally, it's my turn. It's like, "Mr. Thornsberry, how much do you weigh?" "Apparently 844 pounds. I don't come from a big city like this. I grew up in a trailer park, as by now you've guessed. I had somebody ask me the other day if this is my real voice. Like if I had the talent to do voices, this is the one I'm picking. He's like, "Man, don't worry about it. Women love guys with accents." No, they don't. They like guys with good accents. And I see the difference because I'm working with a buddy of mine. He's a comic. He's from Australia, and he's got that big, thick Aussie, that English sound. Yeah, a lot of women find that really sexy, and I have this. And they hear my buddy talks like, "Wow, did you hear that accent? I bet that means he is great with women." And they hear me talk like, "Wow, did you hear that accent? I bet that means he can fix my tractor." Which I can, but that's not the point. That's completely not what I'm talking about. Grew up, still live in a small town in Missouri. It's called Crocker. It's population about 900, give or take. And people are always asking, like, "Man, how can you live in a town that small?" Well, I have advantages you guys don't have. I'll never be the victim of an internet scam. I'm getting set up for my fantasy baseball this year, and an ad pops up for a one-time credit card payment of $99.95. We can send you the links and addresses of 8,000 hot and available women in your town tonight. No, you can't. Incorrect. I understand why people make fun of where I come from. I get it. I know a guy that wants to date his cousin. I know that guy. And he's asked my advice. He goes, "Man, what do you think?" No. Would be my assessment of that. No. And he's all upset, like, "Well, you know, are you serious, man? Are you serious?" He goes, "No, it's not what you're thinking. We just have a lot in common." "Yeah, like uncles." Now, a lot of comics, they get up here and they bash marriage and they rip their wives. It's a very popular thing to do. It can be very funny. I get that. I really don't do that. I am married myself. I love my wife. She's absolutely incredible. And with all the stuff going on, it's very comforting for me in the world. You know, all these people getting divorced. It's very comforting for me. I know that we will never get divorced, ever. You want to know how I know that? We don't own anything worth fighting over. What are we going to divorce over, our thrift store couch? It'd be the worst divorce ever. You're going to load that thing up and haul it off when you leave here. No, I loaded that piece of junk up once and brought it here. I'm not loading it back up again. Still got a cut on my leg from the spring that shoots through the bottom of it. I'm not touching it. The only time that I was ever worried that something like that might possibly happen to us is anytime she wants to play board games. Now, my wife is very competitive. So am I. That doesn't work out. Let me explain something to you fellas. You beat your wife 3 times in a row playing Connect 4. You're going to be connecting with the couch later on. Just the way life works out. But she had some people over one night. She said, hey, you know what we should do? Let's play a game. Yeah, that's a good idea. We haven't hated each other yet today. Let's do that. And she goes to the closet and she brings out the game Pictionary. I'm not going to belabor you guys with all the rules to Pictionary, but the last square on the board is called All Play. Whenever anybody's on that square, everybody draws the same word at the same time. Whichever team screams it out first wins. My turn to draw. For the win, look at the word gorilla. I can't draw a gorilla. But what I can do is this. I can draw a tree where she will guess tree. I will draw a banana in the tree. She will guess banana. And then I'm going to draw something in the tree hanging on to the banana. Looks like it's got a head and a tail and a foot. And she's going to go, monkey. And I'm going to give her this sign. And she's going to click down to gorilla. That's the way it's playing in my head. For the win, gorilla, tree, banana, chimpanzee, chimpanzee, and I know what's getting ready to happen. I'm starting to sweat. I can feel my pulse pick up a little bit, you know. It's not a chimpanzee? No. It isn't. Chimp, that's the same thing. Can't just shorten the word. And then you just lose your mind, start arguing with everybody. Tell well, Chad, you're not supposed to talk during Pictionary. Does it look like we're helping each other out over here? It took you 45 seconds to get light bulb. How about you worry about your own game? We end up losing. Of course. My fault. Of course. She asked me, what was it? It was a gorilla. Chad, doesn't look like a gorilla. You're right, it doesn't. It doesn't look like a chimpanzee. You guess that 14 times.